joining in the big growth spike for all the characters. The Charmy aspect in this chapter I thought was just absolutely like raw levels of fun, just because Charmy's always been a really likable character, and I think that showing one, the craziness of her current level of wool magic, but also like the question of like what is her what is her wolf magic gonna be like, her big fancy wolf eatery. That I think is gonna be the thing to look out for once we find out her level of boots, because this is something she did with honestly not a whole lot of effort. It seems to not have drained a lot of magic from her, and even though it's a big and dangerous kind of giant sheep, like looking at it, I don't know, I feel like it's probably like 200 plus feet, maybe just like 150, and because of that, there's gonna be a lot of question marks on the actual extent of what Charmy is capable of. And no, she's not a weakling. She's pretty damn powerful. We've known that since, really ever. So the question is gonna be to the extent of where is she gonna be sitting at? Because with the whole half dwarf thing, she definitely pushed up a level. Like meal magic, I think, is really going to be one of the biggest hacks things within the series, outside of probably like raid boss kind of like characters, kind of like the word devil, outside of the what are they, the dark tier, the arcane tier. Outside of that, and plus I think Charmy is just gonna eventually become the captain. I already know that she's one of the favorites for Tabata and his wife. But anyway, the contents of the chapter, Asta comes to try and stop Charmy from just being a little bit of a nuisance, and from that, spawns up her massive sheep, who she's not gonna let them get in the way. And you have all these animals that seem to like her. They probably are pretty happy that she's been, having all these stashes of food. And we know one thing about Charmy is she does love to share food with people, contrary to, a standard glutton in these series. But we also see one of the other spirit guardians, which I thought was really cool, Patrov. And I had the exact same thought. I think everybody did. Is he looks like one of the new gym leaders from Pokemon Sword and Shield, and he also has, similar to that guy, plant magic. But I really like that. I'm really hoping that it was just Tabata. When you do the silhouettes for like a group, you leave it as a silhouette. So if it's like, oh, I want to do one of the designs different, before the full reveal. I'm hoping he just really liked that guy's character, and he's like, I have to have this guy in the series. And it's not just a coincidence. I hope it's not a coincidence. I like that idea. It's just like, man, I like this new gym leader. It sucked that he was such an early gym leader. Let's put him as a spirit guardian in Black Clover, like a captain plus level character. Now, he's got these giant like plant tendrils that are all wrapping around and trying to deal with this massive ram Charmy summons. But luckily for him, good buddy Rill shows up, because he actually ended up training with Charmy and Patrov. His hair is shorter. I'm wondering why he cut his hair. I like that big weird like dandelion haircut that he had. It just was a fun little thing for him. He looked like a big paintbrush person. But he ends up coming in using this giant like ice layer to cover up the ram, and then helping Asta, Rill, and him just take it down, and capture Charmy. I wonder actually how long Charmy is gonna be, fat, because the little Charmy, like the little chibi Charmy, is funny, but obviously that's not what she really looks like. I think if she was actually like that big, where she's probably like 2 feet tall, people would take more notice. The normal Charmy, I think, unless she's like in the normal Charmy, the actual like what people see version of Charmy, her appearance, I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like if she turns back to just being her normal self, like the second, the second she drops it and she's not fat anymore, I won't be surprised, because these silly, goofy version is just not how people perceive her. It's more done for a comedic effect for readers. But after that point, you actually find out Rill, who, while training for half a year, he's discussing that half a year ago, during the whole elf resurrection arc, because we know that Rill was possessed by one of the elves, and he's saying like he was saved by by, quote unquote, an elf goddess, but it was actually, Charmy with her dwarven boost. It is funny though, because you'd think it'd be the opposite. You'd think that the dwarven aspect would, take from a normal looking person to like the short, small one into like a lowly version, but it's actually reversed. So, seeing the tall one being an elf and not a dwarf, I think that's like a pretty reasonable thing to kind of get mixed up between for Rill, especially if you don't know it, like that Charmy could do this, because it's like, well, even if you could kind of like connect certain aspects of them together, it's like, well, how did she get taller like this? How did she get more built up like an adult? Just because of weird dwarven and like hybrid abilities. But after that point, it gets kind of steered away, and the bulk of the chapter, which the chapter was pretty short. It's only 13 pages. I know it's getting ready to be, Christmas, so I don't expect the mangaka to be working kind of crazy. They got to have some time off for the holidays too. But Yuno ends up getting to Haggett Village, and the person he runs into, obviously, for Sister Lily, who reveals that he has a visitor, this guy from the Spade Kingdom. He's even got the necklace for it, and well, he's saying that the necklace, the one that had, he got back actually from the Shadow Palace, but he's saying though, that necklace is a sign. You had that before, and he names the guy that he said he looks like. What is this name? Seal. But apparently, the original family that ran the Spade Kingdom, the Grinbellior family, that was back when the Spade Kingdom was more peaceful, much more tranquil, much more kind of like level-headed and calm. But the Dark Triad showed up, exiled and kicked out the Grinbellior family, and took over. And that Yuno is part of that family. He's part of that exiled family, that being the royal family of the Spade Kingdom. So Yuno is a prince. Now, I have a theory, and this actually really, really connects to it, of who really is Yuno. Which is it for Yuno? And I'm going to drop that video because there's a lot to unpack, like I said, about this. Like, this reveal, it's not just like, oh, cool, he's a prince. There's a lot to the question of what this means for, quote-unquote, Yuno, as, connection to both the Spade Kingdom and the Elves. I'm going to put that video out right after this one. So, if you're curious to know what I mean, go check that one out. I would go into it here, but then it's like, well, there's no point to the other video. I might as well have two separate, plus it'd be easier for archiving. But anyway, that aspect, very intriguing to see where he goes with it, because then it's going to be, well, where are the other members of the Grinbellior family? Is he the last one? Were they hunted down? Are they, somewhere in the world? Where does this relate to Asta? Because Asta obviously showing up at the same time as it's got to have like, oh, well, maybe they were, whoever took them there was going to take Asta there, and the family, was like, take this other baby, it's for their own safety, don't ask questions, I'll pay you, whatever it is. I don't think that the whole prince thing is going to relate to Asta. I mean, it could. I don't want it to. I still like the idea of Asta, as he's been built, originally he was just some nobody, and it's because of, all these efforts and, bonds that he's made and experiences that get him to this level that he's at right now. And I don't know, I just think it fits more with what's been going on, and Asta being set as the underdog throughout the entire series in a lot of areas, and having to overcome those weaknesses and turn them into strengths has been one of the more long-going and fun aspects about him. And if they make him some form of, prince of some special bloodline, I think that'll hurt it. I don't think it'll ruin the story, but I think it will hurt a lot of what's built around Asta's character, just because of the fact that, he's the hardworking guy. He's the one that overcomes talent and, just all around, like, people's quick wit, that, like, an adaptability to the concept and grasp, and obviously just some fundamental aspects of magic he can't use. Because this adds for Yuno, because he's the naturally good at stuff one, and he's got all these aspects to him that make him the talented one that, thinks he's able to pick up things very fast. He still has to, work for them, but it's easier for him to grasp comments. It's easy for him to, when I say comments, concepts, easier for him to get his head wrapped around how exactly something works, and, move fast in that line. Whereas, like I said, with Yuno, Yuno on the other, or sorry, with Asta, not Yuno. Asta on the other hand doesn't have. It's not only that he's not able to just get stuff nearly as fast as Yuno. Obviously, so there are certain aspects that he just never was able to get, like Mana Skin, and then he was able to develop his black form, like how to go in and out of it that way. But anyway, comment below, tell me your thoughts are about this chapter. I'll go in more into my theory and like how I think that the Yuno family reveal is important here. In the other video, I'll drop it right after this, probably like 10 minutes after this one comes out. But other than that, thumbs up the video from the like button and subscribe button, and check out my other videos. From that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.